Okay, so you did it. You bought into all the hype. You watched all the videos. You've seen all the reviews. And you went down to the local Harbor Freight store and you bought yourself a Predator 3500 watt inverter generator. Congratulations. Great unit. The first thing I would suggest is I have a must-see tips and tricks video, and I'm going to put a card to it right up here. You might want to go watch that to give you some startup tips and some operational tips. But my suggestion would be to change the oil at least a couple times during the break-in. You get to 25 hours, and then use it, run it, enjoy it. Now, another complaint that I've heard is when your generator gets a higher number of hours, say 70 or 80, 100, 120 on it, that it starts bogging down and it starts fouling plugs, and you know that you can't figure out why it's doing it. And it'll run for a minute or two and then it'll cut off, and you know it'll foul the plugs even though you keep changing the plugs. The number one tip that I would give you is before you pack it all up and send it back to Harbor Freight, check your spark arrestor assembly. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you how to check and change and possibly clean the spark arrestor assembly on this generator to restore perfect operation. So we're going to go down and I'm going to show you how to access the spark arrestor assembly. So stay with me. Okay, so here we are around the back side of our generator, and you can clearly see the muffler and the spark arrestor housing, which is right here. Okay, and you have to remove this back panel in order to get to the spark arrestor housing. And the back panel is easily removed by removing the 6 Phillips head screws. Okay, there. I've already removed them all but one. So, you know, just remove the screws. The housing kind of falls out. And we're going to get our screws. And we're going to put the housing to the side. Now, that's the guy we're talking about right there. Okay? You have to remove that housing in order to get to the spark arrestor. You'll see that on each side of the spark arrestor housing there's a bolt. These are 5/16 bolts. So let's take them out. Okay, now just remove your spark arrestor assembly. You'll see it's got this little screen behind it. We're going to check that out in a few minutes. Okay, now inside the muffler pipe there's the inside of the spark arrestor. Just stick your finger in it lightly until it contacts and just pull it out. There's your spark arrestor screen. Now, you have no spark arrestor in your exhaust pipe. That's going to be very significant later. So let's go up to the workbench and check out what we got. Okay, so now we're up on the workbench. Now here's the entire spark arrestor. You've got the little hold down clamp with the little screen inside, and you've got the part spark arrestor screen. It actually goes inside the muffler, and you get the 2 bolts to hold it in. This is actually the part that arrests the sparks a lot more than the outside screen, but this is really important. You know, if you're running the generator in the back of your truck or on some gravel or on some cement, you know, like a cement pad or a driveway, you can get away with not having a spark arrestor. But you know, one errant spark can cause a giant wildfire like they just had in California and are having right now. So occasionally, if you're in a state park and you're running this generator, the park ranger is going to come by and he's going to stick a stick in the end of your muffler, see if you have your spark arrestor on. And if you don't have it, he's going to make you shut down your generator. So if you remove your spark arrestor, remember to keep it in a bag, a parts bag, where you can actually reinstall it, because it's really, really easy. You can reinstall it in like 5 minutes. So this little screen actually you just push it out. Okay. And now you've got the bracket, and you've got the little screen, and you've got the inside screen. Mine's kind of dirty. I'm going to go clean it. You can either blowtorch it off, or how I did it is I just sprayed it with gum out carburetor cleaner, and it came out nice and clean. So I'm going to spray this, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so here we go. After I sprayed a bunch of gum out carburetor cleaner on it, I don't know if you can notice, but mine was kind of gunked up. Not really. My generator's still running pretty good, but it is noticeably cleaner, and now you can see daylight through it, which is good. And you know, that's where your exhaust comes out. If it's plugged up, here's the inside screen. It is considerably cleaner. That little mesh, clean it from the inside, spray it from the inside, and then spray it on the outside, and you'll clean that sucker right up. This is where your exhaust comes out, and if your exhaust is plugged, your generator's not going to run. So check your spark arrestor assembly before you take your generator back to the store. If you have up to 100 hours on it or so, and just keep checking it to see if it's plugged up or not. And if it runs and stalls, or it's really fouling out the plugs, check this. This is an easy fix. It'll save you a trip to the store and buying a new generator. So let's check out what we learned. Okay, so now we learned where to find our spark arrestor, how to remove our spark arrestor, and what it looks like. Here's the inside screen. Here's the little screen plug that actually sits on the end of it, like that, and our bracket goes over it. It's a really, really good idea to keep this checked and keep it clean, because this is where your exhaust comes through, and if that's really sooted up and carboned up, your exhaust can't get pushed out, and it's going to eventually choke out the operation of your generator. It's also very important to have a spark arrestor, especially if you're out in an RV boondocking or so, and one errant spark can cause a giant wildfire and a catastrophe like they just had in California, and we don't want that to happen. So if you remove it, you know, that's up to you. It's going to make the generator just a little bit louder, but it's not very loud in the first place. If you remove it, keep it with the generator in case a park ranger is going to make you reinstall it, or you have to reinstall it for some reason. But I would just keep checking it on a regular basis. Keep your plug clean, keep your oil changed, keep your spark arrestor clean, and this generator should last a long time. So I hope you enjoyed this video about where to find a spark arrestor, how to remove it, and how to clean it. And until next time, this is Matt, the old Florida boy, saying, I'll see you next time.